A financial plan is only as good as its implementation. Let me repeat that. A financial plan is only as good as its implementation. So what I mean by that is if you give rock star recommendations, but none of it is implemented by the client, they're not any better off. They're actually worse off because they paid you a fee and then didn't do anything. So this week we're talking about presenting the financial plan, but more specifically 4 techniques for getting more buy-in from the client on the financial plan you present. So the first point I want to make is start with the thesis. Before you give any recommendations, I think it's important at the beginning of the plan presentation to restate the client's goals and what's important to them and give a high-level overview. Hey, you're in great shape for retirement. We have 3 things we want to cover, but overall you should feel great. If you start with recommendations and get bogged down in the weeds right off the bat, the client may become uninterested or disengaged, or these may feel disconnected to the whole reason they sought you out in the first place. So start with the thesis before you dive into any formal recommendations. Step number 2, don't hide behind the numbers. I see a lot of advisors tweaking sub-reports to make sure that everything gets exactly right and spending a lot of time there. A good question to ask yourself, is this for the client or is this for you? A lot of us as advisors are really comfortable behind the numbers, but it's harder to enter into more meaningful conversations about trade-offs, what's important to you, values, vision, legacy, all of those things. But those are the more meaningful conversations to the clients. And the reality is a financial plan is stale the moment you print it. People's lives, the markets, everything is always changing. So start with the concrete. Don't hide behind the numbers. Which brings me to my third point. Make it digestible. There's 0 reason you should be printing out an 100-page financial plan. What's a client even supposed to do with that? Where are they going to start? Unless your clients are engineering types who love getting in the weeds and grooming every line item, it's not going to be helpful to them. So I recommend making your own deliverable. Make it 1 page with cliff notes. It's just kind of a summary of the things you talked about, a restatement of goals and what's next. And the last step, I love this verbiage, we, not you. So what I mean by this is once you get to the implementation piece, make sure you communicate to your client that you're going to be a participant on this journey of implementation. It's not all on the client. You're going to be helping them throughout this process. So state what you're going to do and what the client needs to do to continue to move the ball forward. What happens is if you give a client a ton of information, the more you give them as homework, the higher are the odds that they don't do anything and they just get overwhelmed by it all. So one of the things you could do to help is continue to use we verbiage, not you verbiage, so that the client feels like they have a teammate and that you're not just presenting the plan and leaving, you're going to help them implement it as well. I'd also consider finding a software solution or some way to task it so the client and you can check in and see, hey, how are we doing it, implementing the things we agreed to and agreed upon, so that a year goes by and at the review meeting, things are the exact same, right? You got to have a plan and get the client excited about it. And the best way to do it is present a plan that's value-centric, make the information digestible, and have a plan of attack where you are collaborating with the client to fulfill everything that needs to happen, not just the client on their own. I hope these videos are helpful. In the comment, you can subscribe or get these emails directly to your inbox. I would love to learn what you're doing in your practice and how you're presenting the plan, or maybe even what your Cliff Notes deliverable looks like. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great weekend, everybody.